Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is to meet Donald Trump this Tuesday for the first time since he won re-election on a pledge to stand up to the American president's tariffs war and threats to annex its northern neighbour. The 60-year-old Liberal Party leader has said things cannot be the same with the US under Trump and has warned not to expect any immediate agreements from the meeting at the White House. Of course, this comes after Trump sparked a major trade war with Canada, which counts the US as its main ally and trading partner, while repeatedly making extraordinary calls for Canada to become the 51st American state. Joining me now is our International Affairs Editor, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, top of the agenda will be that trade war initiated by Trump. So what can we expect on that front?
Well, if you listen to Donald Trump, he doesn't know what this meeting is about. He said, I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. But more seriously, obviously, the question of those tariffs is going to be really the main focus of this meeting. And there are really two things about that trade war between the U.S. and Canada that will unfold. One is sort of the acknowledgement, especially by the Canadian Prime Minister, that the relationship with the United States is never going to be the same, that there's sort of a necessity to move on and to change things, so to move from the status quo. And the second part, of course, of that is to start the negotiations on what could come next. Right after his election, Carney said, our old relationship based on steadily increasing integration is over. The question now is how we will cooperate in the future and where we will decide to move on, moving on basically away from the United States. So that is something that he has made clear, that this is not about going back. This is about figuring out how to go forward. Now, when it comes to the tariffs and the trade war specifically, Carney was very clear that this was the start. He said, don't expect white smoke. We're, of course, in a week where there's going to be the conclave in Rome. So that reference to the Vatican was very clear. But he said, don't expect any breakthroughs. Don't expect any agreements. This is about starting these discussions. And he said, I'm not pretending that this is going to be easy. And on that note, he was supported or confirmed in a sense by the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, who said these negotiations were going to be really complex. It's going to be very hard to reach a deal. But Carney did say, insisted that he was in Washington to start and he was ready to fight to get a great deal with the United States.
Now, also looming large over this meeting is this extraordinary stance by Trump in making Canada the 51st state. So how is Prime Minister Carney going to navigate this issue?
Well, it's going to be a balancing act for Carney. Obviously, one of the reasons he was elected was on a sort of anti-Trump, anti-U.S. wave in Canada. But he is very focused on that question. He doesn't want to talk about Canada being the 51st state, but on election night, he had these very strong words. He said, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. These are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. This will never happen. So pretty strong words there. Donald Trump did not bring that up in the call that the two men had last week, but he has repeatedly talked about making Canada the 51st state and how great that would be for the United States. He even in an interview on Sunday said that while it was highly unlikely that he would use force to annex Canada, he said that it could happen. Of course, this might be a lot of talk by the U.S. president, but the question of how this meeting will go and how this topic might be approached is going to be very interesting. One advantage that Carney has over his predecessor, Justin Trudeau, is that Donald Trump doesn't despise him the way he despised Justin Trudeau. He hasn't called him the governor of Canada, even though he has talked about making Canada the 51st state. He has called him a very nice gentleman. gentleman, and so he believes that maybe there's more wiggle room for Carney than there was for Trudeau. The real question I'll be looking at during that meeting in the Oval Office later today is how Carney might react if that issue is brought up. There will be reporters in the room. Somebody is likely going to be asking about whether Donald Trump still wants to make Canada the 51st state. How will Carney react if Donald Trump does say that again in front of him, in front of the cameras, will really determine the outcome of this possible reset in the U.S.-Canada relationship.
Certainly a meeting to watch. Thank you for that, Kethevane.